Hello and welcome to the Revolt Endurance Championship. I'm Duke and here with me is Hong.
Hello, hello.
Today we will be racing Hospital 1.
We
And
do
we'll
have
do
those
that as
qualifiers
soon
coming up,
as
though.
we
Yeah.
switch to the scene. So we are seeing a bunch of players already going ahead and a few, I guess, staying behind. Maybe even going for acceleration. This is gonna be chaos at the front though. Just look at all the players crashing in the U-turn cut. It will be wise for them to watch out to behind because some players might already be on a decent lap. Erzu 37.7. Erzu on provisional pole, but that's only one lap and quite a few players had crashes. I really wonder why they don't even spread out. G
Well,
is gonna slow down a bit.
yeah, he did slow down just a little bit there. Also, Alma enjoyed in the chat. Shout out to you. Out of 4 minutes. G, that lap was basically done anyways. He didn't start the new lap, so he's just going to get a nice starting point.
He almost, maybe even crashed someone's car there.
It looks
Fam in the
like-
meantime with the 36.8, the end of lap 3. Sting 37.2, that's second on the grid. Erzu also improving. Kirabarus not improving. Frost with the 36.9 up to second. If we see him teleporting during the race, he will be kicked this time around.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
Sting in the meantime with the 37.6, just like Nick. I think Nick ran it before Sting though.
Ooh, the tie.
This is not it. He can go for acceleration now. Fam behind, also going for acceleration, almost improving still. Favorite, oh, with an improvement. I don't know if he gained any spots. Maybe Lager and Lopesca. Oh, Fam had a crash and that's it for him. The qualifying is over.
Right.
Who still managed to begin the laps? Nick with a 37.0. So the tie is broken now. Can Sting improve? He's been also overtaken by G. Let's see if he can finish this lap with a better time. Nope. And Lager and possibly TT are the only ones who still begin their laps, but
TT wreck. It's not going to be a best lap for Laggy Rock.
Fam is good to go and they will be going away from the grid, and it seems like Nick, Frost and Fam are still not that far. G lost a bit of ground. It might have been Ping hurting his start to pit. Let's see if they make the shortcut in lap 1. Nick already struggling a bit, so G will be closer to him now already.
Yeah. And right.
Also closing in on Fam on lap 1 so far. He, of course, was about 67 meters behind, I think, right after, but he's now down to 4 meters and he does the best lap. Which he did have a bit more acceleration for. It's not very relevant so far, but they will be heading into the shortcut area again in the U-turn, and this is what counts. And we're in the first few laps, so track position could matter quite a bit. Whoever is leading could have a psychological advantage throughout the whole race.
Yeah, Frost is looking super clean as well, and this has basically been the main storyline of this entire event so far has been Famous vs. Frost. So it's only fitting that it would continue here from the very beginning. Yeah, we've got G and Sting. I think Sting claimed one position here to be sitting in fourth. I could be wrong on that. But the battle for third there, it's not as closely contested as Famous and Frost. Kilabar is already on a bit of an island. Powery and Nick, as they go for the shortcut, of course. Ooh, Nick pushing a bit. And Powery goes into the office chair. So that's going to be a big hit for him. Falling
and
down
as that happens, in the lead, Fam crashes out, giving Frost the first place. But not only that, she also went by and it's a 40-meter gap to overcome, so it's quite crucial in these opening stages of the race. We'll see if Frost can be consistent on this track. Maybe these kind of crashes will keep happening, but this could also be quite important. We don't know yet. But Fam is alright on the back of G, but that's not gonna do him good when G has a bit of lag. And also, he's gonna be hit by Fam. And Fam, again, after multiple races like this, is on a recovery drive.
Yeah. That has been a recurring theme as well. Ganesh was actually doing quite well, did do a bit of a barrel roll, falls back one position, but still holding on. In the meantime, though, as we were talking about Famous, he not only had a wreck in the shortcut, but also had a bit of bad RNG on the recovery from the wreck, had to do basically a full repo. So that was a huge time loss. He's going to be situated behind Kilobars, but as I say, it does pass him up right there. Meantime, Lampert and Ganesh wrecking out in 11th, 10th. Closer towards the front of the field, we do have a wreck by Stingox. He's going to have to flip his car back over. Gets passed by Famous and Kilobars in the meantime.
Yeah, that's a quite close 4 or 5-way fight. But also, do you know who else has probably wrecked? It's Frost. Because G is now down to 20 meters behind.
Right.
Fam with a personal best up in the meantime. So this seems like it will be a race with quite a few mistakes.
Nick passes up Laggy Rock going into the shortcut and really pulls away from him. Making it through the fountain portion, a 10-meter advantage is Nick over Laggy Rock after that clean pass. We do have Kilobars right a bit ahead of Stingox, just barely, is going to be in defense mode as Stingox, one of the key racers in this championship, is definitely going to be hoping for some quick passes here. Kilobars, if we know anything, not going to let it happen, but here. Before that shortcut, I was thinking Kilobars is going to keep blocking, but I did not expect a wreck, and a wreck is going to change up the entire landscape there.
Oh, and Frost must have had a crash. Also, we saw Erza crashing on the broadcast as you were spectating Kila, and Erza lost quite a bit of ground to Lager, who he was chasing. But G and Frost are closer together, and Frost is losing out. G is quite consistent today. We've talked about him, especially you bring him up all the time, because it does feel like he should be able to keep up based on his Revolt Racing League title. And Frost will be crashing, so G takes the lead, and it's 10 meters between them now. If G can keep up the consistency, he should be able to keep this lead for a while, I think.
It's definitely not as big of a buffer zone as he would have hoped for, but given his previous performances in the RVEC, he's got to be super happy about the way that this race has started.
Yeah, definitely. That's easily his best running position so far. And it would easily be his best finishing position, but it now crashes on the left side. We've seen that in the track review. We've said that players could clip that, and he did. But it's still not that far, but it's not that far to Fam either, who is now back in this fight basically, after only 10 laps. Despite the fact that he crashed quite a bit, so it's not a track of consistency, as far as we can tell.
Yeah, Famous has had just unbelievable recoveries all throughout this championship. The fact that he's currently sitting in second place right now is mind-boggling.
That's not true anymore. G has crashed, Fam overtook him. Fam has crashed as well, now behind Stingox. So Sting is ahead of him, and he needs to go around somehow. Their best laps are quite similar, so their pace probably is also similar. It does look like Fam is getting a bit closer here. Seems like he has a bit better consistency. Can he try something in the U-turns? He has been screwed over there. Will he screw someone else over this time? No. But he's really on the back of Sting. He could be pushing him in one of these bit slower turns. He wasn't close enough. I actually retract that statement. I don't think you can do that. in that right turn. It's hard enough on its own, and they don't slow down enough. Overtaking opportunities will be a bit hard to find, except for possibly the U-turn.
Yes, yes. Um, while that is going on, it's been a wild back of the pack. I have to stop what I'm saying. G wrecking falls back 2 positions. Sting and Famous both moving up 1. Not good for G.
Yeah, and Fam is up to second. Frost does not like seeing that on his radar.
Yeah.
Even though he sees 50 meters, he doesn't think he has much time for that. He's probably focusing on trying to get away as far as possible, which he isn't successful at for now, because he probably made a mistake somewhere. He's only leading by 50 meters at this point, and Sting and G are also quite close. It's a 4-way fight for the lead, maybe even 5-way if you consider that Nick is not further than 20 meters either.
Right.
So, oh, and Nick does the best lap of the race, which would grant him 6 points. Of course, best laps give out 6, 4, 3, 2, 1 points in that order.
Once again, shout out Ganesh. He's currently in 10th place, fighting Lampert for 9th. Has been super competitive in these races despite being out of the game for a bit. Great to see. A very clear one is G versus Stingox. Right as I say it, Sting, where we've seen barrel rolls previously, Sting gets turned around a bit at that just slight ramp at the fountain, and now he's going to be getting challenged by Nick for that 4th place, and it gives G a lot of breathing room.
Yeah, I've been thinking about taking a look at that, and it's a bit above 10 meters here now. So it's gonna be a crash that Fam needs at the moment. He can't overtake from there. But let's take a bit of look at Nick and Sting, who are closer than Nick, could be looking for an opportunity. He takes his turn better, and he's now ahead. Around the fountain, and Nick is up to 4th, as Sting has made a mistake, as you said, a lap or 2 ago. And also Frost with the best lap of the race in the meantime, but Nick won't fight back on it in this lap.
Right.
Some players do perform better under pressure. OG is making a mistake as well. So the leading duo is getting further away as again. But we also have a nice fight for 3rd between G, Nick and Sting. Just as I say that, G is gonna crash out. And Sting is gonna be the one chasing Nick for 3rd. G is still not that far away. So he's still somewhat in this fight. And Erzu and Lager are exchanging places as well for position number 8. And I'm not even sure where to look.
The battle between Erzu and Laggy Rock has officially broke. Laggy Rock has wrecked 3 times in a row. It has gone from 8 meters to 112 meters behind Erzu, and he's now close to Lampart. And Ganesh seems to have fallen back a bit as well, falling back to 11th in a battle with Power himself and TT. So new battles forming as its endurance continues on.
So let's see how long they can keep going like this. They will be getting more tired as the race progresses. This is one of the most important elements of an endurance.
So true. So true. Nick, Sting, and G still staying strong. We also see very
Frost
low... Yes.
with a crash now. Frost with a crash from the lead. Fam taking over. And they have Tova being lapped again soon, but Frost crashed at the U-turn on the shortcut. So that was how long that same positions and gaps could be kept up. And now it's up to Fam to control the race. And
There it is.
not lose his consistency. He goes by Tova here, who is a lap car. Frost will be able to do the same here. Tova slows down very nicely. So the fight for 4th is the next one we'll be watching.
We've also got a battle for 11th, 12th, and 11th, 12th, and 13th. TT missed the shortcut, unfortunately, but Ganesh wrecked on, had to stop because of a wrecked driver, and so 11th, 12th, 13th still going hot. And I see we got another one, Laggy Rock and Lampert, 0 meters between the two.
Yeah, they are really close. Lager was fighting Erzu, but through some accidents, he found himself in the grasp of Lampard, who was more than 100 meters behind, and the Lager crashes out, losing out to both Lampard and Powerade. On the other hand, Erzu goes by Kila, so Erzu's race is going uphill at the moment, it seems. After the fight with Lager, he's now up to 6, and we also have Nick and G being a bit closer again. And also we have Lopesca and TT fighting for 11s. Fam behind them, trying to get by. TT crashes. So becoming last traffic in the middle of a fight is not great. And I think Nick has crashed in the front as well, because he's now further away from B. And I think he was close for a bit there. But the gap has increased. Oh, Powerade with a crash as well. Lucky Rock going by for the 9s. And TT and Lopesca are back at it, so it seems like Lopesca also had a crash after TT's one. And Thing with a personal best lap in this race, only enough for 5th on the leaderboard though, giving him 1 point still, so that's not bad, but he is barely close to the other players, except for possibly Frost and possibly Nick and definitely Frost.
Yeah. And we're at the point where there's only one race going on with single digit numbers. It has really cleared up from the point it was once at. Nick has had a major accident though. He ran straight into a wall, wasn't able to, recover from that in any way, just had to go reverse and then go forward again. So falling back about 60 meters. Right.
They are crashing a lot, and the most here, almost as much as Grisville. So not technically the most, I think, but it's surprisingly a huge amount. Oh, and Lampard and Lager are back together, so there we have it. It didn't take that long for the battle to form again, and Nick and G could be fighting any given moment if G has a moment. So, oh, Lampard hitting the wall, I think. Lager looking for the opportunity here. Could he be going for it in the U-turn, which is coming up soon? Yes, he might be able to know. I thought he would go for a bit of dive bomb, and Lampard went a bit wide as well, but it wasn't enough for Lager to go by.
Maybe he is happy with this performance. In the meantime, he does do a bit of a barrel roll. Now Nick is right behind him, so could be falling back to 5th quite shortly unless he regains his composure here.
Yeah, and one thing I will say is that Frost and Fam might be tied after this race if they finish like that, because Frost would gain 3 points regarding best laps, but Fam would gain 5 because of the race win, and they were 2 points apart from each other as far as I'm concerned. So that will be interesting to see, but Nick and G are in a fight. G with a bit of lag. Nick will have to be careful, but he tries to go for an over-under, and it does work out, it looks. And he is now ahead.
Scoots right by him. Gotta go. Now, this isn't a fully clean escape yet. Nick is definitely still getting hounded by G. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. This has been going on for many laps now. This definitely isn't a new development. The major new development is that it's now Nick who is leading. And G wrecking twice from the looks of things. So nice little gap for Nick here.
Lap traffic has been kind this race. Nick with a personal best lap. He's still only 2nd. Oh, there was someone slowing down there. It might have been a lapped car. So that's not great for him. G with a personal best lap. Beating out Erzu, and now I think he's back in the top 5 points gain. Which I will be bringing up. There's not that much fighting going on at the moment. It feels like a bit of a calm after and before the storm. So yeah, G would gain 13 points as we stand. Nick would gain 1 point on Sting, although I don't know if he's capable of catching Sting in this championship still. And Frost and Fam still 1 point apart, even though Fam ran a personal best lap. Because Fam is still in position number 3 on best laps. seeing today, but it's
Oh, whoa, whoa! I gotta cut you off. Nick wrecked in the shortcut and has wrecked once again in one of those hospital beds, and now is behind G. Ertsu is also close, so in the mix. Fourth place is on the table here. It extends all the way back to seventh, actually, is what I've been wanting to mention. It's been creeping. It's been a very slow development, but we're at the point now where it's potential that even Kilovaris in seventh place right now could find fourth.
and G has crashed, so G is
Oh.
now behind Nick, right ahead of Erso again. There's a 3v fight for fourth, and in the meantime, Fam, best lap of the race by .001. So that means he will be gaining 2 points over
my.
Frost on that, and he will be
No
gaining
way.
7 points overall, taking the championship lead. Frost will definitely want to fight back on that front at least,
Yeah.
even if the 160 meters will be hard to overcome. But G and Ersu are quite close together. Ersu can't be looking for an overtaking opportunity yet, but I mean, it does seem like G is a bit faster at the moment, so it doesn't seem like Erzo will close in to look for an overtaking opportunity. He will be possibly hoping for a crash.
Nick, G, Ertsu, that is the order. They're going into that shortcut. Lopez is in the mix. Ertsu does manage to get by, loses a bit of time there.
And Sing with a personal best lap. Nick with a crash.
Nick.
Big crash, down to 6 now. Sting with a personal best lap, tying Nick basically. But let's discuss that a bit later, because Erzu and G are now back in 5th and 4th, because Nick is losing quite a bit of ground due to crashes.
Yeah.
And for quite a few laps now, he's lost more than 100 meters. And G is still only about 60 meters from Sting, so Sting hasn't been doing that consistent either. Could G be looking at a podium, or could any of these players be? And Lampard and Lager are also close to each other.
In the meantime, I think he might have lost a little bit of that buffer zone to Sting, believe it or not. He's now Sting, that number is decreasing even as I talk about it. That might have just been the shortcut a bit, but I mean he's definitely under 100 meters by what we're seeing. This is an improvement for Stingox here. Is Frost losing some ground trying to go for best laps? It's hard to tell. It's possible.
It also looks like Nick and Erzu are wall banging there intentionally, which is quite an interesting line to take. I'm not sure about that. And back to the equal pass laps, I believe whoever did it first will be getting the better position on that. But Nick is really close to Erzu and he could be overtaking here. And in fact, Erzu misses the cut completely, it looks.
Yeah.
I don't know if he didn't even want to go for it, if he had a bad line and decided, oh yeah, I'll skip that because I would end up crashing anyway, and it's better to just go around than to crash. Yeah, I'm not even surprised by this anymore because they keep crashing every 2 laps or so. And Zyno with a crash, same yellow style of car, yellow color, but that's not G. Zyno will be getting out of the way soon. He might be seeing Erzo in his mirrors or by looking behind rather. I think more players look behind. He should be getting out of the way here. If not, Erzu will be honking. No, Zyno does get out of the way. Frost taking back the best lap of the race by quite a bit of time. It's more than half a tenth, so the fight on that is on. That would mean, in fact, I'm gonna be opening this in OBS, because that would mean 29 points to Fem, 26 points to Frost. Fem would be leading the championship by 1 point. But we can just look at the championship that way. There will be removals. They will be removing their reverse result at the end of the season. So we're calculating with the past 7 out of 10. Meaning that it's irrelevant how far apart they are. But their worst result will also be relevant. Nick with a crash. I think... wait, was G ahead? I think G was ahead. But Erzu is right behind Nick now. I'm not even sure what the order was. I think Nick got closer to Oh, and Pavlet and Lager are also in this mix, being a lap down, and in a fight, Ers and Lager crash.
Lager has wrecked many times since that ramp dropped down before the fountain. It's been very unfortunate. In fact, he flipped his car and stopped G for just a second, got him caught up, so that actually impacted G's position as well.
Pavlet going the long way around to get out of the way for the lapping cars. But wow, I think Lager's crash here will be the most frustrating one for him out
Yeah.
of them all, because it was him basically getting to the side to let Erza by. Erza was trying to take his ideal line, and he basically squeezed Lager into that wall. Sting with a personal best lap now, so the tie won't be the scenario. Oh, and in fact, Sting overtaking Fam on that, so the points would be tied after this race, I believe, again.
Ooh. I was wondering about that situation. Somebody wedged themselves in between those best laps. But we are on lap 62. 73, we got time. G failing the exit after the ramp drop down. And Nick tapping him, but just managing to get by all the same. Does not get tangled up in that.
Erza might be going a bit safer, actually. I don't know how much he's risking at the moment. Frost with another new best lap of the race, improving it even further. He's more than 0.1 ahead of Fam on that front. And 200 meters between the two of them, so no way of overtaking. Fam probably can go for it, full attack. Although, he might want to wait a bit with it still, because full attack might give an opportunity to Frost. Although
Right.
it would be very unlikely. 200 meters is a lot. But it's a few crashes if you risk a lot. And Erzo with a small crash,
Ooh.
surviving it somewhat.
And once again, shout out to Ama, giving his position up to Tova. What a nice guy. Nick, hello?
Did he get crashed by that
All
lap
good?
car?
It might have been.
Oh, and Frost improving the best lap further. He found a really good rhythm. He's not getting much on Fam, but it is ensuring that he gets the 6 points for that, and he's still trying to improve and improve, because Fam could still be going for it in the upcoming 7 laps.
Time is running out. Time is running out, not just for best ops, but also for this entire race. So Nick, losing a bit of stability once again. Nick has been keeping us all on pins and needles here. He does sometimes simulate like a tightrope walk where you just you're afraid to watch, but you're also afraid to look away. You know something's about to happen, and nothing's broken yet, but it's been quite close a couple of times. The shortcut coming out, Erzu can't make it, has to go around the long way as a result of some miscalculations, and now he's just as close to G as he is to Nick.
They are all 30 meters apart from each other. Nick actually with a personal best lap,
Yeah.
but it's only, and I believe, 11 millisecond improvement. So it's not that much, and he stays in the same position on best laps, but he could still have 5 laps for that as well. They are still going for best laps, which is not something we see that often, maybe 1 or 2 in the end, but we see a lot of personal bests late in this race.
We also see a lot of wrecks late in the race, and 4th place. We'll see. We'll see. G seems to have wrecked a bit, so I don't think that G can quite snag 4th from some scenario where they both wreck. But Erzu still within distance, and actually look at Sting, only 40 meters behind Frost at this point.
Oh my, maybe Frost was running for that best lap. Maybe he got a bit tired, but it's 300 meters of an advantage to Fam. They didn't expect him to dominate this. Oh, Sting going for the best lap finish. And interesting, he's probably saying the gap to Frost. But I wonder if he's rather going for best laps because he feels like Frost will be going safe at this point. Or, I don't know, maybe he can do the best lap of the race still.
If Frost is not going safe at this point, then he is a psycho, because we've got Erzu even is like pretty close. I mean, he could lose 2 positions here. I guess probably not, but still.
Well, Erzu and Nick are already 60 meters and
Right.
plus
right.
30 for Erzu. So I think that's highly unlikely, but
Yeah.
Sting is still a bit of a threat with less than 3 to go. So the race is coming to an end soon. Fam will most likely be winning this race. Second place is still undecided. And with Frost making a mistake, it could still change. Which is very unexpected with how the race has been going. They were far apart with Stingox. But he has had some wrecks. I mean, Frostbitten has some wrecks late in the race. Nick with another personal best. It's not gonna be improving. Not gonna be gaining him any spots on the leaderboard. So he's gaining in small times.
He's
G
still
also
turning up the heat, though. Yeah. I mean, this has been a consistent, really nice times for Nick. We'll see if it ends up paying off for him. Last lap around for some of these racers, it really is coming to a close quite quickly here. A lot of things have fizzled out, died down. There are a couple nightmare/dream scenarios that could happen, depending on your perspective. But
Fam will be winning this race. The best lap stays the same. There's a big fight between lap cars. Sting has to go by. He's not gonna be able to clear them. But Nick also lost some ground, so it's more. It's closer between him and Ersu. It seems like they will all finish in that order, but that got a bit intense in that final lap, and Sting probably would be a bit mad at those lap cars, but there were 3 of them and it was really hard to let everyone by, especially as they weren't on the same lap even, I think. G will be finishing 6th soon, as soon as he can cross the line. Oh, Lager, what happened there? I'm not quite sure. Kila losing some ground to Lampard in the closing stages, but managing to stay 7th, it seems. He still has a corner to go, but he now finishes it. And
TT and Lopesca.
Wait, G with the second best lap of the race?
Wow, that must have been the final lap for him. Incredible. That is jaw-dropping. Can we get a replay? Can we get an instant replay on that at some point? I don't know, but I think that had to be a last lap, best lap. And that really messed up the points gain, as you can see in the bottom right.
And TT and Lopesca, with few turns to go, only 30 meters apart. I think they were fairly close there, but Lopesca manages to close it out. The positions are a bit incorrect in the top left because of players going spec and all that. I think he'll still not be too frustrated with this result.
Right.
And G sneaking into that second place on the past lap leaderboard, gaining 14 points in this race because of that.
That was crazy. We mentioned 10 points would be like 6th place, and he does finish out in 6th once again.
On the other hand, we should have Frost here.
Hello.
With us. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us for this interview. Well, how did the race feel?
Mixed, I'm gonna say. A little disappointed in myself, but because I know I had pace this race, I crashed way too much, more than I would have liked. That's for sure. Especially after the first 10 laps, that was way too many crashes for my liking. I think Fam kind of turned the switch at some point though, and he basically stopped crashing for like 40 laps straight. That's essentially what won him the race. I think pace-wise I was like up there, probably evident by the lap at the end. But overall, a bit disappointed, I'm gonna say. But at least I know I had pace, and I know where I lost this race. It was basically on consistency, which is actually unusual for me.
I did have one more, if we've got a second.
Okay.
I did have
We
one
do
more
have-
little question. I'm curious how you prepare for these, because you've done such a great job.
How do I practice personally? I play time trial, but I don't necessarily go for like one lap. I kind of just keep going and I keep doing the exact line that I want to do in the race, and I just repeat that as much as I can until I'm happy with how it's going. And if I'm happy with my consistency, then I can maybe try to push it. Like, let's say I'm gonna do 10 laps, of which like 3 of them I'm gonna crash, but I'm gonna see basically how much I'm crashing when I'm going to the absolute limit, and then
Okay.
make my judgment in terms of like how much can I go for best lap. How say in the race I know how much a crash is, so I know how much I can actually afford to do it. So this is all relevant info.
Okay, thank you, and cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Some very good advice. Even gooder advice in the Twitch chat though currently. Shout out to y'all.
G channeling a Brazilian mythological creature. That makes sense, but it only works, I presume, if you are Brazilian. Thank you, and see you next time.